Hi guys and welcome back to our channel. Today we'll be reviewing Stellar, Ripple and Bitcoin against US dollar. We will see where they might move over the next weeks. Please subscribe to our channel, and if you want to receive our weekly trading signals, and if you want to receive our newsletter and more in general, receive on-demand analysis, then you might want to join our growing community on Patreon. You will find the link in the description field. Let's start with Bitcoin against US dollar on a daily basis. As you can see here, after having peaked at 40,000 US dollar, we have been retracing since then. You see here an increase in terms of volume associated with the high hanging man. We have a series of free hanging man, which is actually a very negative signal. Also, if we analyze the cycles, we see that the white curve is almost going to cross below the orange one. Same for the red curve below the azure one. Now, if we want to understand more about where we are with Bitcoin against US dollar, we should be analyzing the weekly chart. To my Patreon, I've been sending a newsletter warning them about a possible retrace. That was the reason why I suggest them to use a trailing stop. Where we are right now, actually today is just Tuesday, so this weekly candle is still information. Yet if the end of the week we should be having such a formation with the hanging man, then we might project Bitcoin going down over the next weeks. Yet if we analyze our property indicators, we see that we are still in the bullish trend. In other words, while the short-term trend is negative, while I do believe the price is going through a weakness period over the short term, we are still inside a strong uptrend for the long term until something will change definitely. Now let's switch to the 4-hour and 2-hour chart, even if I'm not fan of this kind of time frames, but just to give you an understanding where we might move over the next days. So because with the 4-hour chart and a 2-hour chart, we will have the chance to understand where we might move over the next days. So what we see here, if we analyze the two cycles, is that for the very first time the white curve has crossed below the upper threshold. As you can see here, while or when the white curve was above the upper threshold, we have experienced the Bitcoin going from 22,000 US dollar till 40,000 US dollar. So in this case, these minor cycles, I've changed the parameters, and obviously I cannot show what kind of parameters I've used. And as you can notice here, every time or during the period when the white curve has been moving above the upper threshold, we've experienced such a huge movement. Okay, same for this kind of cycle. So what is happening right now is that for the very first time the white curve has crossed below the upper threshold. The same here for the red curve. This is the 4-hour chart. So in other words, we are inside a weak period. It's not a positive signal, of course. Same here. Okay. Now, if we analyze the orange curve, which is a longer parameter when compared with the white curve, we see that the very first time, even the orange curve, it is a 2-hour chart, has crossed below the upper threshold. Same here for the other kind of cycles. Also, if we analyze the price movement here, what we see actually is a point of control here. That's why I was predicting a retrace from this point of low around 30,000 US dollar. It's also a round number, so it was quite predictable to experience a movement up from this threshold. But now the price is moving below the medium average, okay, below the central average of the two envelopes. Okay, so if you want to experience, or if you want to buy Bitcoin, I would buy only above the all-time high. Okay, only on a breakout. So far, we can definitely say that we are inside a bearish momentum over the short term, which means over the next days and few weeks. Okay, now let's move on. Let's analyze Ripple. Here we have a daily chart. I've been stating several times that we were going through a period of weakness. Right now, where we are and when we might start buying Ripples. Definitely end of January, beginning of February seems to be a good entry point for us, because we can project the cycle, or we can project the ascending phase of the Gauss curve over the beginning of February. So where we are, as you can see here, when the white curve is crossed above the orange one, and same for the red curve above the azure one, we have experienced a huge run up here from 0.28 till 0.80 US dollar. Okay, and then what happened there is that actually the cycle has been moving downwards. Those two cycles are a little bit lagging in terms of, but I do prefer like this. I prefer having a little bit lagging cycles, but with the chance to have more secure trading signals, rather than having very fast cycles which are not telling us so much. Okay, so what we see here is that actually the red curve is broken below the zero line, so actually we are in the descending phase of the Gauss curve, and we are approaching the last part, okay, the ultimate part of the descending channel. Actually we are almost here. Okay, so we can project February, definitely beginning of between the end of January, beginning of February, we might experience a ripple going up against the US dollar. Also, would like to point out, and for better understanding, I will be using the weekly chart. I would like to point out the huge increase in terms of volumes that we have here in correspondence with this long black candle. Okay, so what normally happens is that when we experience such a huge increase in terms of volumes in association with a long black candle, most probably, or let's say 7 or 8 times out of 10, what we see is a movement, is a very strong movement up. Okay, actually it's exactly what happened with the stock market over March 2020, when we've experienced a huge increase in terms of volume. We've experienced the point of control with a huge long black candle over the monthly chart. So if you have the chance to visualize the SP 500 or the Nasdaq 100, or even the European indexes, so the DAX 30, the CAC 40, and the FTSE MIB 40, you will see that in correspondence with the long black candle, we have experienced a huge increase in terms of volume that was clearly a point of control. From there, we have experienced a huge movement up. So for Ripple, I will not give a Ripple for a dead, for like a dead coin, or stocks. If we will see what the SEC will tell us with the low suite, but in terms of technical analysis, we don't care about the news, because the news are inside the price before volumes, and the price is the last thing that changes. So it's already reflected in the current price for Ripple. Actually, right now we are at 0.30 US dollar, more or less 0.297. The volume actually are the only indicator able to predict a future movement. Okay, so again, we see here the cycle are have just crossed above the lower threshold, which is obviously a positive signal over the next. This is a weekly chart, so actually it's something that we should be expecting over the next months. Okay, so for the 2021, again, let's see where we will be in February, and we will better understand where we might move over the next weeks and months. Again, the cycle here obviously is quite negative, but again, this huge increase in volumes in association with this long black candle is a positive signal. Yeah, so don't be fooled out by the color of the current candle. Let's see what we can retrieve for Stellar. Stellar right now has a relative strength higher than Ripple, and as you can see here, is reflected by this daily chart, where the white curve is still above the orange one, while the other cycle is giving us a weak signal for the next days. So what I retrieve from the understanding of these cycles is actually that and we are inside a neutral movement, a neutral signal right now, with a huge increase in terms of volume with this long white candle. So it's better to switch to the weekly chart, and to better understand where we are and where it might move over the next weeks. As you can see here, the upper envelope has enveloped perfectly the movement for Stellar. So I expect I will buy Stellar only at the break of 0.50 US dollar, because as you can see here, Stellar has hit this very strong resistance around this area between 0.45 and 0.50. It has recognized this barrier, and as you can see here, from there, from 0.45, has retraced till 0.25 US dollar. Cycles on a weekly basis are up. Again, I do believe we could buy with a lot of confidence above 0.48, with definitely a target 1, which means 100% of gain after having broken above the 0.50 US dollar area. So let's stay tuned. Let's see. Now, technical analysis is quite important, because with the technical analysis, it's possible to predict where we might move, or where an asset might move over the next weeks and months. Yet it's extremely important to be patient when the picture is giving you contrarian signals. You should stay aside, okay? So let's not be in a hurry. So this is valid for all the free cryptocurrencies, or Bitcoin, Stellar, and Ripple. We have seen different contrarian signals, so let's wait for the free shot for the areas that I've given, okay? So definitely 0.50 for Stellar. Let's see for Ripple. Let's see where we will be in at the beginning of February, and then we will need to analyze again the volumes in order to see if we can skyrocket again. But yet again, I repeat, February will be extremely important, and do believe from February we are going up again. And for Bitcoin, we are now inside a very weak momentum. So let's wait, and let's see when we will see this is the 2-hour chart. Let's switch to the 1-day chart. Yeah, and let's see, as you can see here, if the white curve will break in above, will be breaking below, sorry, the orange curve, then we will be in a very weak momentum, and we will need to again to see the white curve breaking above the orange one. When that happened in October 20, we've experienced Bitcoin going from 13,000 US dollar till 40,000 US dollar. So these two cycles actually work. And so again, right now we are not in the better technical scenario, but again, the technical scenario can change if we break above the all-time high. Then for those one who are brave, there is definitely a huge possibility to start buying Bitcoin again. Thank you, guys.